Alright, welcome back everybody. Today I'm really excited to share my Gaussian Splat and Particle System toolkit, which I've been developing over the last year or so and used to create several installations in that period of time. I'm really excited to share it because there's been a lot of increased interest in Gaussian Splats recently from the community, and I think this is one of the most fully featured and high quality tools out there to work with Gaussian Splats in TouchDesigner. So I'm really thrilled to be able to share this with all of you today. First, just a little bit about me in case there's anybody new here. My name is Lake Heckerman. I'm a new media artist. I explore how technology influences human perception of our world and also how we connect with our fellow humans. I'm very interested in this topic and I explore it through creating interactive installations, which I've been fortunate enough to exhibit around the world at galleries and in public spaces. I also do commissioned artwork and architectural installations for corporate clients. And finally, I lead TouchDesigner workshops and teach online via Patreon and YouTube, where I'm guessing a lot of you are tuning in from now. This is some past work of mine. If you're interested, definitely check out my portfolio. I'm not going to spend too much time on any of these pieces, but I did want to talk about, briefly, two. One being pollination. This work is one of my most recent and was created using Gaussian splats taken in San Francisco by myself earlier this year. And finally, still life, which was my first large-scale installation using this toolkit that I'm about to present and was exhibited during Art Basel Miami last year. These splats are interactively dissolved by users, and these were all taken from Portugal during a residency that I did there earlier last year. So that is the high-level introduction. Now let's get into the fun stuff. So first things first, you can load any Gaussian Splat PLY file simply by navigating in your browser, file browser, and then clicking reload, and that will reload the splat. Here we have an interactive viewport, which is great, so you can pan around, zoom in, zoom out, really isolate what you're trying to look at in your splat. You'll see I also have two additional renders. There's obviously the main render, and then we have a depth render. And here, as we'll see in just a second, we have a velocity render as well. So let's say that I turn up my global turbulence. We can see the particles obviously start to move, and then we have some velocity in our velocity texture. And those additional render layers are able to be turned on and off, so if you don't need them, we don't have to use the performance to compute them, but they're very handy sometimes. So let's talk about the rest of the features here. So we can start as either a splat or a point. So here's your point cloud version and your splat version. In the point version, we can also change the size as we can with the splats. Nothing too crazy there. Let's say we're starting as points and we wanted to kind of do like a Luma AI style reveal. We can do that by having this distance from the origin weight set to something non-zero, and then we can mix towards a splat, and as I increase this threshold, we get that really nice Luma reveal effect, which I really like. We can also, using this uniform mix between splats and points a little bit more, with more discretion. So let's say we want to start as points and then mix everything over to splats. That's pretty easy to do. And then vice versa, we could start as splats, start as splats and mix everything over to points just as easily. And there's a nice fade that you can see there too. So that's one cool effect. What are some other things that we have? One, we can change the blend modes. Add is the one that generally makes it look like a splat, but the other ones are kind of fun. I have a global turbulence and a lot of different velocity settings here for the particles, so you can play around with those quite a bit. Also, we have seek home, so we can have all of the particles come back to home, kind of regardless of where they are in their world. We can turn this up a lot, and then all of a sudden, okay, we can stop the particles. We can start to zoom out, look around. We see that we have this nice three-dimensional space. We'll give our particles a little bit of speed, and then we can reduce the turbulence amplitude, increase the seek home weight, and voila, we have our Gaussian splat nicely reconstructed just like that. One other thing that is pretty cool, I have a chop array, which just takes RGB and radius values. And let's say we want to mix two points using that array. Can turn it on, and if I render, you can see what's going on. So as the effectors are moving through our splats, they are turning the splats into points and like dissolving. Maybe a cooler thing to do would be to actually have this dissolve instead of just turning to a point. And so in this case, we can turn our turbulence up, and I'll render these guys, and then you'll see as I increase the weight here, increase it kind of a lot, that all of a sudden our particles, especially if I turn up the force and everything, our particles are getting dislodged, and as the effectors are encompassing them, they're being turned into kind of free-forming particles. And actually, this will be a lot more apparent, pardon me, when okay, so I'll turn down the amplitude, and I'll turn the seek home weight off, and then I'll turn the amplitude back up, and we'll reset things. And so now you can see much more clearly how, as the effectors are touching our points, the points that are affected are being turned from splats into points, and this is a pretty cool effect that I like a lot. We can then have our seek home weight back up, and that will bring everything back together. But you'll see now that as it's coming back together, these are still in like point mode, right? And we can increase the size of our points, but they're still points and clearly look like that. So there's another setting, which is mix two splats at home. And as we turn this up, it means that the mix between splats and points is going to be also determined by how close the splat is to its initial position. So if I reset this, I'll turn this down, we can start to render them as points. And then if we turn our mix to splat at home up, all of these become splats all of a sudden. And then I guess just to fully show all of the examples, we could use this mix to home. We'll keep it off, okay? And then we can start as splats, render with this array, no seek home at all, and actually, yeah, so we'll let it just kind of mess itself up a little bit, and then I'll turn this on, and so now you just saw a little bit, the splats that didn't move very much turned kind of halfway between splats and points. The rest are staying as points, which is exactly what we want in this case, as they're being tweaked and moved around by the effectors. But then, as we turn our seek home weight up and these splats return home, they go from particles to splats again and recreate the full 3D geometry, which is especially true the closer they get to their home state. And so that's an effect that I really like. The other thing to note is these effectors can very easily be used, or like you can use a sort of leap motion or connect hand tracking or media pipe or like whatever to control these effectors, because again, it's just a chop array. So any array of chops you can use to replace this. That makes it a very extensible and customizable setup, which is great. So let's turn that off for now. What are a couple other things Okay, so one is I have a turbulence mix. So we could also say start as points. Make sure my mix to home is turned off if we want to start as points so that they don't just be splats because they're close to their home position. We'll start as our points. And then if I use my turbulence mix to mix towards splats, and then I turn this up, and maybe I'll make the period a lot lower in this case, and we'll reset. So now you can see 3D turbulence is being used to change some of the splats from points to splats, or vice versa. So we could start as a splat instead, and now we're using the turbulence to kind of dissolve the splats into a point cloud. So I think that is pretty cool. Just like another effect, you can change the speed at which the turbulence moves. You can change its period, like I just showed you. So there's a lot to be done there. Okay. And then I guess the last thing is, besides using the arrays like we did, the other thing that you can do is use the distance from origin when its mode is set to dissolve. And when this is turned up and our expand threshold then increases, we'll start to actually just dissolve this splat from the inside out, which I think is pretty cool. And that is, I think, a pretty cool animation maybe to close this demo on. So there's definitely a lot to discover. I think that I'm excited to see what everybody can create with this and undoubtedly get some feedback. There are just a few things on the render side that I want to show very quickly now that we've kind of went over all the functionality on the points. So for this, I'm going to, let's say, turn this down. I'm going to reset. I'm going to turn my effectors on, but maybe not render them. And okay, I'll turn the C comb down too. So in this way, we are going to just deform our system a little bit. And then I'll have my mix home in the middle. Okay, and so what I want to do with this quick example is, one, show that here only our splats that are moving are getting rendered with the velocity texture, which is great. That is some extra work that can be done here because you now have the ability to access in texture land exactly what splats are moving and what are not. And then last, on the actual render itself, so one, you can change the output resolution, and then using this multiplier, you can change the actual render resolution, which is then fitted down to the output resolution, so downsampled if your graphics card can handle rendering a little bit higher. I showed you already turning on and off the depth and velocity. There's this rotate speed, which is pretty cool, I think. And then for the bounding and everything. So one, we have a view-dependent cutoff, which, let's see, as we get really close here, so this is a view-dependent distance cutoff, which is good, but then as we move the camera around, this view distance, can end up cutting off more of our scene. So there are some additional things that we can use to determine which part of the scene we're rendering. One of those is the bounding box here, which we can, obviously change the size of and all of that very easily. Turn the bounding box off, and then when the bounding sphere has a radius that's not 0, we have a bounding sphere that can be applied to. And obviously this can also be moved about, and so with these two things, we can also really nicely focus on exactly the part of the splat that we want to focus on. And I think that's pretty cool. So now we have, just in this little example, a really cool focused area of this splat that's being selectively deformed by this chop array, being rendered in real time with velocity and depth textures also if you want them. And yeah, I think there's a ton to explore here, so I will leave it with that. The component itself is available on my Patreon, So you can go grab it there, start playing with it yourself, and I'm excited to see what everybody can create. Thank you.